What if I told you there's a criminal who terrorized California for years, sent coded letters to newspapers, claimed to have ended dozens of lives, and is still walking free today? A figure so clever that even after 50 years, hundreds of suspects, and countless investigations, we still don't know his real name. We only know him by the strange symbol he used to taunt police and the public. Today, we're diving deep into one of America's most famous unsolved mysteries, a true crime case that still puzzles investigators to this day. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer. But first, hit that subscribe button, because cases like this will keep you up at night, and you won't want to miss what we uncover today. Picture this. It's the late 1960s. San Francisco is in the middle of the summer of love. People are feeling free, trusting, optimistic about the future. Young couples are going on dates, driving up to scenic spots, overlooking the bay, thinking they're safe. But someone is watching. Someone is hunting. And he's about to turn the San Francisco Bay Area into his personal hunting ground. The Zodiac Killer didn't just attack people, though he certainly did that. He played games with the police. He taunted the media. He sent cryptic letters and codes that stumped the FBI for decades. He turned crime into a twisted form of performance art. And here's the chilling part. He was never caught. After all these years, all the investigations, all the suspects, he just vanished. But his story? His story is about to blow your mind. December 20th, 1968. Lake Herman Road in Vallejo, California. It's a popular spot for young couples to park and spend time together. David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, drive up there for what should have been a normal teenage date. Around 11 p.m., another car pulls up behind them. The driver gets out, walks up to their car, and without saying a word, opens fire. Betty Lou tries to run. She makes it about 28 feet before collapsing. David is shot point blank. Two teenagers, their whole lives ahead of them, taken by a complete stranger for no clear reason. But this wasn't random. This was the beginning of something much more sinister. 7 months later, July 4th, 1969. Blue Rock Springs Park, just 2 miles from the first attack. Another young couple, Darlene Farron, 22, and Michael Mageau, 19, are sitting in Darlene's car when a vehicle approaches. The driver gets out, shines a flashlight into their car, and starts shooting. Darlene dies instantly. Michael survives, but barely. And here's where things get really strange. 40 minutes after the shooting, the Vallejo Police Department receives a phone call. A calm, controlled voice says, "I want to report a double incident. If you go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, you'll find kids in a brown car. They were attacked with a 9mm. I also ended the lives of those kids last year. Goodbye." The caller knew details that only the attacker would know. And he also said something that would become his signature. "I also ended those lives last year." He was connecting the dots. He was taking credit, and he was just getting started. August 1st, 1969. 3 newspapers in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, each receive an identical letter. Each letter contains details about the Lake Herman Road and Blue Rock Springs attacks that only the killer would know. Bullet types, positions of the victims, things never released publicly. But that's not the strangest part. Each letter also contains 1/3 of a cryptogram, a coded message made up of strange symbols. The writer demands these codes be published on the front page of each newspaper, or more people will be harmed. Imagine being a newspaper editor in 1969. You get a letter from someone claiming to be a killer, with details that check out, demanding you publish his coded message, and threatening more incidents if you don't. What do you do? They publish them. And that's when the Zodiac Killer became a household name. Because at the end of each letter, instead of a signature, there was a symbol. A circle with a cross through it. A symbol that would become one of the most recognizable calling cards in criminal history. October 11th, 1969. Paul Stine, a 29-year-old cab driver and part-time student, picks up a fare in San Francisco. The passenger asks to be taken to Washington and Cherry Streets in Presidio Heights. It's a short ride, maybe 10 minutes. Paul pulls up to the intersection, and his passenger shoots him in the back of the head. But this killer doesn't just murder and run. He tears off a piece of Paul's shirt. He wipes down the cab. He takes Paul's wallet and keys. Then he just walks away calmly, like nothing happened. But here's the crazy part. 3 teenagers across the street witnessed the entire thing. They immediately call police and give a description of the suspect. Within minutes, patrol cars are flooding the area. Officer Donald Falk is driving through the neighborhood when he spots a white male walking away. The man is calm, unhurried, just strolling down the sidewalk. Cop drives right past him. Why? Because the initial dispatch described the suspect as a black male. A miscommunication that let one of America's most notorious criminals walk away into the night. What makes the Zodiac Killer different isn't just that he ended lives. What made him unique was his need for attention, his desire to play games with law enforcement and the public. 3 days after Paul Stine's murder, the San Francisco Chronicle receives another letter. This one contains a piece of Paul Stine's shirt, proof the writer was indeed the killer. He's taunting them. He knows how close they came to catching him, and he's rubbing it in. Then the letters get stranger. He calls himself Zodiac. He creates more cryptograms. He claims to have harmed more people than investigators could confirm. He even threatens that schools could be targeted to spread fear. And here's what's unsettling. He seems to enjoy it. The letters aren't just communications, they're performances. He's turning fear into entertainment, and the whole Bay Area is his audience. What makes this case stand out is not just the crimes themselves, but how it turned into one of the most studied, unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. Over the years, hundreds of people have been considered as potential suspects. Let's talk about the 3 names that have obsessed investigators and true crime fans for decades. First, Arthur Lee Allen. Investigated multiple times, search warrants served, seemed to fit the profile perfectly. On the same type of gun used in the attacks. Witnesses identified him, but DNA didn't match. He died in 1992, denying involvement. Then Gary Francis Post. In 2021, a group claimed he was Zodiac. They pointed to scars on his forehead and said he confessed before his death in 2018. But the FBI and police have never confirmed it. And then the haunting possibility. What if the Zodiac Killer was never on the suspect list at all? What if he was someone who managed to hide in plain sight? Think about it. This is someone who outsmarted the FBI, local police, and amateur detectives for half a century. Even today, true crime enthusiasts, cold case detectives, and amateur codebreakers continue to search for answers. So where's the Zodiac Killer today? If he's still alive, he'd be in his 80s or 90s. Maybe living quietly in a retirement home, or maybe he passed away with his secrets. At least 5 lives were confirmed lost to his violence. David Faraday, Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin, Cecilia Shepard, and Paul Stine. Real people with families, dreams, futures cut short. And he terrorized an entire region, making couples afraid to park in quiet spots, making everyone look over their shoulder. The Zodiac Killer might have escaped law enforcement, but he hasn't escaped time. DNA technology and modern genealogy tools are giving investigators new hope. The Zodiac Killer remains one of the most talked about cold cases in true crime history. The Zodiac Killer case reminds us that some mysteries don't have neat endings. Sometimes justice never comes, but people don't give up. Investigators are still working. Families are still seeking answers. And maybe one day, someone will finally solve this puzzle. This case is more than just a story. It's one of the most chilling cold cases in American true crime. What do you think? Do you believe the Zodiac Killer is still alive? Will he ever be identified? Let me know in the comments. If you found this deep dive fascinating, subscribe and hit that bell. Next week, we're covering another unsolved case that'll keep you guessing. Remember, the truth is out there. Sometimes it just takes 50 years to find it. Thanks for watching, and I'll